Hi, and welcome to another Kiive audio video. My name is Luke Diamond. I'm an audio engineer and producer with a lot of experience under my belt with amazing artists, primarily in the pop realm. Being in the industry for about 8 years now, at least just in the studio side, has taught me so much. And when I get to meet and chat with other peers who are kind of in the same realm as me, there's always like one topic that comes up in conversation, and it's a question, but it's like a conversational question. And typically this question or topic comes up in conversation when we talk about our growth or our journey. The question or topic is very simple. It is, what are some things you wish you knew earlier in your career? So yeah, I want to discuss 5 things that I wish I knew, and most importantly, had already adapted into my workflow earlier in my career. By no means do I think that I did anything drastically wrong. I learned from some amazing people, but there are some things that I think would have put me on a better path if I had adapted them earlier. Okay, so the first thing is something that I still see a lot, and it's something that I did a ton for years of my career. I'm ashamed of it, and it's EQing everything. Bland? I know. Let's talk about it. Now, obviously, there's a chance that you will work in sessions or on songs where things actually need EQ, right? That's a no-brainer. Now, obviously, there's nothing wrong with EQing things. Let me be very clear about that. But I just think the ideology of popping an EQ on every track within every song just because you EQ everything within every song can sometimes cause a lot more damage than it causes good. And there's a lot of content out there that just says boost here, cut here if you want this sound. Remember, every source is different. Okay, so let's dive into an example here. So I have some drums here. They sound a little bit dead. Let's give it a listen. Now, after listening and analyzing this, I know that I want to add a little bit of top-end sizzle. And yes, this is probably something that I should be doing with the rest of the song in the mix, but this is just an example. Now I'm going to use the M5133 from Kiive. I love this EQ. Yes, it says mastering equalizer, but try it on a bus. It's amazing. It's really, really good. So yeah, let's add some top end. And then we're going to add a little bit of the, what I call the fundamental, which is the hits and things like that, just to get it a little bit more snappy. All right, so we've taken the drums from this to this. And I like how it sounds. Mission complete. But this is where it can get hairy. What if I trained myself to boost these frequencies every single time I was working on drums? So in a world where we're pretending that with that first EQ is how I actually got these drums, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing as I did with the first EQ. And just like that, I've probably caused more damage than I have good. They're way too snappy, they're way too bright, and in my opinion, they're going to sound really thin in a mix. So remember, listen with your ears and then come up with a game plan. Now moving on to number 2, this one hits home for me. I have a lot of experience with this, and is to spend the extra time to dial in a good chain while recording. A good chain is subjective, of course, but having something sound 60 or even 70% of the way done is a secret weapon that I've learned from some of the greatest tracking engineers. Early in my career, I took the I'll do it in post stance a little bit too often, and the second I started working with A-list artists, they expected a polished sound right out the gate. This is a really good skill to have. We recently did a video on this where we walk through setting up a chain, and I encourage you to go check that out. The link will be in the description below. Third, this one is simple, and I'm sure a lot of you are already doing this, but I want to encourage you to do it more, and it's to try everything. One thing that I've learned throughout my music career is that the mad scientists are always the ones that are known for doing cool shit. Not being scared to try new things and use things in ways maybe they weren't made to be used is a superpower. And I'm sure there are way crazier examples of this, but I want to show you something that I did recently. All right, so I have these vocals here, and one thing that I really, really like to do is mess with time-based effects, right? So I have a delay here. It's kind of a fast delay, like kind of slappy. And then I ran it through the Lunchbox amp sim, which is a Kiive audio plugin. Now, yes, running vocals through distortion is not a new thing, but this has a really, really cool sound.
Little things are pushed aside, we're faded in the background, unsettling little lies, we can never back down.
So yeah, I encourage you to add things like an amp sim to your delays or your reverbs or your time-based effects. It's cool stuff. And moving on to number 4, I think it's important to find things that work and cherish them. Now, this may seem like I'm telling you to stay in your comfort zone, but I'm not. Having your Swiss Army tools that you know, trust, and understand will help you work wonders throughout your career. Being able to understand what you need and exactly what tool you're going to need for it is amazing. As an example, Swiss Army knife plugins like the S Quick Strip here allow me to craft a sound into basically anything that I want. This is a magical plugin. If you haven't used this, I encourage you to do so. So you obviously have all these controls. You have your gain, you have saturation, you can flip polarity, you have EQ curves, you have a compressor, you have a transient shaper, you have saturation mix controls, you have input and output trims. It's amazing. And for me, having a handful of plugins that I trust, I know that if I need a job done, I can get it done and I can get it done quickly. And this ideology doesn't just apply to plugins either. It goes for hardware, speakers, microphones, everything in between. And lastly, number 5, this is arguably the biggest one we're going to discuss, and it is to trust plugins that force you to use your ears and trust your ears before you trust the GUI. Now, this kind of goes hand in hand with the first one because I really think I would have excelled faster in my career as both a tracking and mix engineer if I had prioritized the usage of powerful plugins like, say, the M5133. At the beginning of my career, I prioritized the usage of plugins that showed you feedback when you changed things rather than doing ones that gave you nothing but your ears to gauge your changes. We are living in an age where the graphic user interface of plugins are truly amazing, and I'm not knocking ones that have crazy GUIs. I'm just saying, trust your ears first. One thing one of my mentors told me at a very early point in my career, and I probably should have listened and wish I did earlier, was to, load a plugin or have a piece of hardware in front of you, and when you're working with the source, close your eyes and turn the knobs. And then once you're happy with it, open your eyes. There's absolutely nothing wrong with using plugins that have GUI feedback when you operate them, but I think it's important to really just rely on what you hear versus what you see, and I really wish I had adapted this early in my career. Well, that was all 5. I'm curious to know if any of you watching this video have any to add. I know there's a lot of really talented and accomplished people who watch these videos, so please, let us know if there's anything that you would add that you wish you knew early in your career. So yeah, comment below. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Peace out.